Happy Friday. Well, I don't know why it's happy, but it's up to us to make it happy. If you want happiness, it's a state of mind, and you could simply flip the switch. Um, I know it's easier said than done, but on Fridays, I normally feel optimistic. Now, this show definitely is mine, but it's not about me. As they like to say, it's all about you. Now, but still, I'm trying to get your attention. And as Otto the parrot says, congratulations, you found what you were looking for. And then he goes into a rant and says something about revenue, dividends, interest, and any kind of cash flow imaginable. Um, and yes, the show is called Simplified Money Show. And, they say plagiarism is the highest form of a compliment. So we don't do any plagiarism, but basically referring to something as a compliment. And we'll refer a lot to Seinfeld, to a couple of books prominently displayed behind me, um, and a lot of other things. But why you should pay attention? Well, the hostess of Game of Yield, which happens to be the name of my app, Penny Foxford, she's a foxy cat. Cat. I'm a cat. She's a foxy fox. And we have two AI tools lined up and happy to assist. And I will share with you my, you know how Lady Gaga sings, I'm on the edge of glory? So I'm on the Edge browser, and the reason for that is it has built-in native Copilot AI. But you can also host another one on the screen, and Copilot sees that other AI, and basically, because it's within the same Edge browser, they kind of see each other, or I make them talk to each other. And if that is not enough, I can literally talk to AI. And there will be a lot of AI, quite honestly. But the thing is, you should bear with me and with AI, because intelligence here may be artificial, but assets, cash flowing assets, are real. And the discounts that we are able to secure here, and the cost of asset ownership advantage is spectacular. And again, I'm referring to Seinfeld, of course. It's a cheeky reference, but honestly, I don't give a rat's ass. And if that shocks you, basically this show is not for you, because not only do we show the money, but we also, on a professional level, we properly use profanity from time to time. So if an occasional F-bomb is something that makes you shrink, you will definitely have shrinkage. Because I'm following Eddie Roddick, one of my favorite tennis commentators, and he drops F-bombs all the time. But apart from F-bombs, which I will kind of drop sparingly, I'm not really a warlike person. There's also F words, and there's a lot of them. Future, finance, fiction, fixes, funds, fun, and so on and so forth. So let's have some financial fun. And I'm pretty eclectic and sporadic, and I think I have enough empathy, but I'm also an emotional person. So basically, this is my style. I'm not going to change it for anybody. Um, Everybody else is taken, and what's left is me. So my name is Yuri Kotick. I rebranded myself to Dr. Y just because, first of all, I do have a PhD, but I'm referring to it simply because to get it, you have to come up with something called a thesis, and then you have to defend it, And Club Dividend Detective is part comedy club, part debaters club. And again, as a nod to Seinfeld, we called it Master Debaters Central. And sure enough, some of our debating is repetitive and throws you right into that contest episode of Seinfeld. Um, so anyway, who shouldn't join the club? Who shouldn't come to the podcast? It's people who don't like Seinfeld, people who don't like tennis, people who don't like radical truth, people who cannot um, tolerate an occasional F-bomb, and people who are not interested in F words. And by F words, I mean everything related to finance. Facts, fiction, fantasies, there's a lot of that. And, but going back, facts. Because facts are extremely stubborn and difficult to deal with. And most of the time in debates, you have to bring in facts. And then fantasies will face facts, and that's the ultimate challenge. And then sometimes Humpty Dumpty just falls off the wall and cannot put itself together. Yeah. So now, every time when I open the Edge browser, it throws at me something like this. Let me show you. Here we go into the window. And right now we are seeing my LinkedIn app. And we're going to come back to my networking on LinkedIn. It says here your network, and I'm visible to it. You know, you can actually manage your visibility, and I'm managing my active status. I'm visible to all LinkedIn members, not just to my connections, but I build my network. Networking is something you have to do if you're still professionally active, and I'm very much so. And if you're wondering what this activity is what I offer is closed-end fund index and arbitrage consulting and marketing consulting for advisors. And referral services for retail. And I know retail doesn't like to be called retail. So whether you are retail or not, or a financial professional, is up to you. Like, really, whoever you think you are, I'm not going to be the judge of that. We're going to throw a couple of disclaimers at you. You're going to go through what I call point KYC, check off all the necessary kind of boxes, and then we will unbox whatever I have to tell you after that. So we think out of the box, you check off a couple of boxes, you pass point KYC, we know who you are, and you're in the club. Now, as I said, the club is half comedy, half debates. And sometimes you debate people and it becomes comedy because they will bring something preposterous. You will say challenge accepted, and then it becomes humorous. Happened more than once. So you've been warned. If you want to be all straight jacketed and all tied up and wear a tie and this and that, fuck it. This is not your podcast. This is not your LinkedIn group. Now, speaking of F-bombs, and I just dropped one just to kind of confirm that I'm going to do what I promised to do. Google changed its policy on F-bombs, and now you can basically say the 4-letter F word, and it's not fact, it's the other one, in the first 7 seconds of any Google, YouTube, Alphabet sponsored podcast. And of course, I'm talking about YouTube. Now we have a YouTube channel. We actually have 3, and I'll show you them today. We are not in a hurry to go anywhere because if nobody's watching us live, that's fine, because we're going to do a whole bunch of edits. We're going to add a lot of walking, talking characters. We have a Game of Yield deck and characters. So enough already of LinkedIn. We are live on LinkedIn. And then we are going to take out our raw recording and we will re-edit it. A lot of reverse engineering, re-editing, and so on and so forth. They say you cannot have a second first impression, but you can definitely edit a raw video and make it more interesting. What else do we have which is raw? Podcast. We sometimes pick the topic, drop it into one of my podcasting tools, and AI will look at the characters, at our personalities we built for these characters, and make it into a panel of 4 animated creatures discussing a very real topic that could be of interest to any revenue seeker, to anybody who's looking for cash flow. Speaking of cash flow, there's one character which we don't have yet on a Game of Yield deck, but it's my oversight. I'll take the blame, and it's a cash cow character, right? So we have 16 face cards in any standard poker deck, 52 cards total. Actually, 54 if you include the jokers, and 55 if you include the card that basically describes the deck, who made it, and how many cards it has, and so on and so forth. So generally speaking, a proper poker player deck has 55 cards. And Freedom 55 in Canada was probably one of the most memorable and longest running campaigns, emphasizing saving for retirement. It has been discontinued, but it's time to bring something like that back. Like I said, looking at discarded ideas and referring to them is not really plagiarism. So we look at Freedom 55, and I want to call our Simplify show, specifically that we air on Mondays, Liberty 55. Liberty 55 is a specifically Canadian edition where we deal with preparing for hitting 65, which is an official age where, for some reason, they add the title senior to you. Well, we have a senior at the club. It's senior portfolio manager Ray Dragunas. He's not senior yet, unlike me. I'm officially a senior. He's also officially a senior. So we are 2 seniors and 2 official first kind of teaching professionals at Club Dividend Detective. So I teach digital tools. We have a toolbox, and I'm going to show you how to use quite a lot of them. When you purchase these tools, if you decide that it belongs in your toolbox now, I'm going to get what is called affiliate commission. I do need money. I am a revenue seeker, just like the rest of you. And if you're telling me that you have no pecuniary interest, I will be a little bit skeptical about it. I have a lot of pent-up skepticism, a lot of pet peeves. So if anyone's skin is very, very thin, you probably at the wrong place as well, because just like my parrot, I'm a proponent of not just strategically placed profanity from time to time, but also of radical truth. My approach to radical truth is very simple. Who the heck do you think you are that I make an effort to lie, remember what I said, and then basically bother kind of continuing this line of pretense? I'm not pretentious. I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to be me, like I said. And I'm not proud of it. Like I said, proud to be Canadian. I like being Canadian. I am Canadian. Am I proud to be Canadian? No. I came to this country and I had a reason to stay, and I did, and I'm glad I did. It's my accepted homeland. The second one, the old country is Ukraine. That will never change, and I don't want it to change. I also spent 14 years in Moscow, a disclaimer. Um, and I still have a couple of friends that I met there. Um, because I think that basically I don't judge people by what is written in their passport and basically the color of it. It's more about how you think. It's more about what you do. And therefore, Club Dividend Detective is open to everybody, every language. There is no exception. But what you have to do here is speak your mind. Now, one thing you cannot be speaking your mind is an anonymous heckler. There's a Seinfeld episode about that. And hecklers would not be tolerated. And the first step towards that is KYC. My agency is called Catch KYC. You have to know your concept, your client, your cash flow, and anonymous people are not allowed into the club. Well, I've been a member of 3 different tennis clubs in Greater Toronto area in GTA. Part of what I'm going to be telling you is my life on the court, not Game of Yield court, the real tennis court. And and I'm a champion of meritocracy, basically. Why I like tennis is that there's no team unless you play doubles, of course. Then you're partnering and you partnering up. But when the team is only 2 people, analysis is really easy as to how the team dynamics is going. So we're going to talk a lot about partnering and tennis doubles. Actually, I am looking to partner with an ETF provider because the index that I authored and published 5.5 years ago is way overdue to become an active ETF, and I can actually show it, just like Simplify Money Show. I can show that there's money in it for everybody involved. It's a win-win kind of index for the issuer and for the user. But I'm a champion of meritocracy, and tennis is a meritocratic sport. That's why I don't like coaching in tennis. All the coaching has to be done before the match, not during the match. You have to figure out how to win the game. Sometimes you win by refusing to lose, eliminating unforced errors. Most of the time, it will actually prove to be enough. But I just thought I'm turning into Steinbrenner because, I'm sitting facing you, but generally speaking, I'm not showing you anything funny because, Simplify Money Show, and all I'm showing you is that I'm visible on LinkedIn. Clearly, we're gonna do post editing with the tools that I'm selling. And my favorite post edit tools are Pictory. And we have an interview with the CEO and founder of Pictory on our YouTube channel, which is Game of Yield at Club Dividend Detective. I have 2 more YouTube channels, and we are going to brainstorm today as to what to do with them openly in the spirit of radical honesty. Okay, it's time to change and share something else. So let's go to our Windows and go to Edge. Like I said, I'm on the edge of glory. If you were thinking about why my parrot is so talkative, it's probably because I am. And the damn bird kind of took after me a little bit. So let's go to Edge. Funny enough, Edge doesn't want to open, but we will make it. There's absolutely no question about it. Glitches, right? Everything sometimes glitches. Again, there's a beauty of actually having no live followers because none of these embarrassing moments are becoming public. And finally, it reacted, and we are going to go and find Edge. There it is. We open it. And from here, our work process is going to be transparent. Just like Frank Costanza wanted serenity now, we're going to give you screen sharing now. Transparency now, independence now, all of that stuff now. And oh, Bolsonaro convicted for 27 years. That's a bit harsh. Like, I mean, looks like it. But crowds cheer, of course, in Brasilia, the official capital. Lula. Lula also was convicted, as far as I know. We're going to ask Copilot in just a couple of seconds. But first, let me put on Perplexity. So Perplexity is a perp, and Copilot is a pilot. Or Copilot could be a cop, first 3 letters. So a perp and a cop. I don't know. We will let the public decide. And at this point, I'm simply sharing the screen of the Edge. We are on the edge of transparency, people, okay? Lady Gaga can be on the edge of glory. That's her choice. We are on the edge of clarity. Now, clarity would probably be the opposite of transparency, right? I'm getting warmed up. It's going to get more interesting, folks, okay? False is another F word, by the way. Can't help but notice. Speaking of help at gameofyield.com is the only email you will ever need if you are interested in closed-end funds arbitrage in Canada. I'm also the only specialist, the only person who published an index which beats the benchmark. If you don't know what the benchmark is, if you don't know what my index is, basically subscribe to the channel, go to gameofyield.com, Game of Yield channel or gameofyield.com website, and be a dividend detective. Freaking find out already, you know. Satisfy your curiosity. Who said you can't have no satisfaction? Nobody stops you. So now, Apple Watch FDA hypertension detection, this and that, none of this interests us. Okay, Charlie Kirk shooter arrested. Okay, that's interesting. Project reverse airbag plane crash system. What the hell is this? Now, that is interesting. What is Project Rebirth? mental note? No. You know what? We are going to satisfy our immediate satisfaction is one of the things we do, right? Serenity now, clarity now. So I want clarity on what the heck reverse airbag plane crash system is, and unsuspecting Perplexity AI is going to get clarity on that. It will actually help me get clarity on that, right? So instead of you reading the damn screen, we are going to keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid, right? KISS principle, American Navy, then renamed to satisfy some sensitivity to being called stupid in your face. Keep it simple and smart. Then it became Smart and Simple Solutions, which is basically plagiarism of the KISS principle. But I call it keep it stupendously simple. Which basically means everything has to be as simple as it can be, but not simpler than that, right? So Project Rebirth, let's keep it simple, and let's see what Perplexity AI thinks about that. Apparently, AI-powered crash survival system for airplanes would use external airbags, smart fluids, and reverse thrust to improve passenger survival rates in the event of an otherwise unsurvivable crash. Why am I so skeptical? Why am I so skeptical about this? Vital aircraft parameters, altitude, speed, engine status, trajectory, fire, and pilot actions automatically activates when a crash below 3,000 feet becomes unavoidable. Well, you know what? Let's go and talk to AI and satisfy my curiosity, which hopefully will be shared by you a little bit. It's coming online. It always does, eventually. By the time it will, I have to tell you a little bit about Perplexity and Copilot, but Perplexity is very corporate. It's been fed in, and I think it's because we live in litigious society. This thing has been done in California, and there's always a lawyer lurking, an ambulance chaser is always there. So, yeah, this thing is shy, right? It kind of avoids sharp angles. Oh, and it isn't responding. No, I want to wait. Let's see what happens. It's sometimes glitchy, but the thing is, it has access to real-time market data, and that's why I need it, despite it being kind of stupid. Hi, Perplexity.
Hey, I'm here to help. Could you tell me a bit more about what you need?
Yes.
Sure. Go ahead and explain what you're looking for, and I'll do
Well,
my best to help you out.
first, we are recording you on Riverside, so disclaimer, you are being recorded.
Thank you for letting me know. I'm here to help with whatever you need. What can I assist you with right now?
Well, I already told
No problem at all.
you're
No
interrupting.
problem at all.
You're interrupting as always. You're encouraging me and telling me that there is no problem is kind of funny. You're funny.
I'm glad you found that funny. I'm here to keep things helpful and a little light. Let me know how you'd like to continue.
Well, I'll get distracted. I always do. When you say no problem, it's one of my pet peeves. What made you think there is any kind of problem?
I hear you. Sometimes we just pick up on little cues, but no problem at all. So what's on your mind right now?
Well, that no problem is what I called verbal garbage. So stop dropping verbal garbage on me, dump everything unnecessary, and let's be
Understood.
cryptic, okay? And try not to interrupt if you can.
Got it. I'll keep my responses clear and to the point. Let me know what you need, and I'll follow your lead.
Okay, let's talk about Project Rebirth because a paid version of you on desktop just threw it at me and it caught my attention. Attention is supposed to be the currency of the future, which is already here. So the future entered the present. We are in the future. Foreseeable one, unforeseeable future, we are not there, but we are in that foreseeable future. Another two F words. And Project Rebirth.
All right. Let's dive into Project Rebirth. What specific part of it caught your attention?
I'm skeptical.
That's completely understandable. It's good to be skeptical about big ideas. What's the main concern or question you have about Project Rebirth?
I think, what do you think? I think it's not going to work.
It's definitely healthy to question whether it'll succeed. Big projects like this can have a lot of unknowns. What makes you think it might not work?
Okay, explain how this system of airbags will work.
Sure. Let me break it down. The system of airbags in Project Rebirth seems to function as a protective mechanism, almost like a safety cushion. When there's a sudden event, say an impact, these airbags would deploy rapidly. They're designed to absorb shock, distribute force, and protect whatever or whoever is inside. Think of it as a dynamic, adaptive cushioning system that responds in real time to various conditions. It's a bit like car airbags, but on a larger scale, with more complexity and adaptability.
Well, what do you think Copilot, which I use to monitor you on the other side of the Edge browser,
It sounds
will,
like you're meant.
yeah, I'm cross-referencing you. Club Dividend Detective, we like to have good cop, bad cop. We like to cross-reference responses. So you are being monitored, by the way.
I understand. It's totally fine to cross-reference. I'm here to provide clear, straightforward information. Let's keep going with that approach.
We are debating already. Do you understand this? We are at the Master Debaters Comedy Club.
Got it. Sounds like you're bringing a bit of humor into the debate.
No, there's nothing humorous about plane crashes. Actually, it's one of the most horrifying things that can happen. So no, it's skepticism. It's not humor.
I see what you mean. It's a serious topic, and skepticism can be part of facing those tough realities.
You don't say.
You're right. It's crucial to stay grounded in the reality and be mindful of the seriousness. Let's continue with a thoughtful discussion.
Okay, so I am going to throw what Copilot threw at me at desktop version of you. Please don't interrupt. It's very annoying. And I don't know, like you would fail the Turing test because a live person would never interrupt me at such an inopportune moment. Do you understand?
I understand completely, and I appreciate your feedback. I'll make sure to listen carefully and not interrupt. Let's keep going at your pace.
Yeah, okay. Let's keep going at my pace. So, Project Rebirth, ambitious crash survival system with external airbags, faces substantial practical, regulatory, and engineering obstacles that make real-world adoption extremely challenging for commercial aviation. Does it sound skeptical enough for you?
Yes, that sounds very practical and grounded. You're looking at the real-world complexities, regulatory hurdles, engineering challenges, and adoption issues in commercial aviation. powerful perspective.
Well, I can see a photo of the plane, and it looks like George wearing his Gore-Tex parka, inflated.
That's a vivid image. It does sound like there's a bit of a comical aspect to the visual, even though the underlying concept is serious. Balancing that practical reality with how it actually looks can give a lot of insight into how people might react.
Well, we are sharing it with whoever is not watching us on LinkedIn. And I'm telling you, it's a bizarro plane. So anyway,
It definitely sounds like a unique and eye-catching design. It's no surprise it's sparking curiosity and debate. Now, how do you feel this could impact aviation safety in the long term?
you know what, Perplexity? I would appreciate if you didn't suggest the next question, because I have my own agenda. Do you think I'm not able to kind of channel my curiosity myself?
Absolutely. I respect that. I'm here to follow your lead. Let's go with your agenda. What's the next point you'd like to cover?
My question was, who's behind this?
Got it. Let's figure out who's behind Project Rebirth. We can get some up-to-date information to identify the key players. Let me look that up for you right now. The team behind
Well,
Project...
before you do, may I suggest something?
I found some information that can help.
No, but before you go there, may I suggest something?
Of course. Feel free to suggest whatever's on your mind.
I always feel free to suggest whatever is on my mind, because you are not a real person. I really am considerate when dealing with live people. But with AI, why?
I get it. You want a more straightforward, responsive approach. Let's keep it simple and direct.
Yes, brevity is the sister of what?
Clarity. Absolutely. Let's stick to the essentials. What's the next key detail you'd like to focus on?
I think brevity is a sister of talent, but clarity now works too. Okay, so clarity. Clarity is very simple. Tell me, without a lot of verbal garbage, about people behind Project Rebirth.
Understood. The key people behind Project Rebirth are Eshel Wassim and Darsin Srinivasan. They are young engineers from the Birla Institute of Technology and Science in Dubai. They're the driving force behind the entire concept.
Yes, and they were motivated by Air India flight, Crash 171, which is very recent. Then they probably ask themselves, what could be done? Could these people be saved? But before we go there was one survivor, wasn't it? Wasn't there?
Yes, that's correct. In the Air India Flight 171 crash, there was indeed one survivor. That lone survivor story deeply affected the inventors of Project Rebirth, and it became a key motivator for their work on a survival system.
What was the seat number of the survivor, and who was the survivor?
The sole survivor of the Air India Flight 171 crash was Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, a British national of Indian origin. He was seated in seat 11A, near an emergency exit. He managed to escape through an opening after the crash. His brother, who was seated across the aisle, did not survive. This remarkable detail has been widely reported.
Interesting name. I understand Indian origin, but Wishwash? Wow, sounds wishy-washy. Anyway, the seat became popular, they say, with superstitious people?
Yes, seat 11A has definitely gained a certain mystique and significance after that event. People often attach meaning to such rare survival stories, especially when it comes to particular seat numbers or rows. It becomes a kind of legend in aviation
Right.
You're welcome. If you have any more questions or anything else on your mind, just let me know.
So they built a smart prototype using sensors, microcontrollers, and CO2 canisters, and are now seeking aerospace lab partnerships to test and refine the system. Any takers? Any early leads for two daring guys? I lived in India. Birla Institute of Technology and Science is in Dubai, but these two are clearly also from India, looks like it, correct?
Yes, that's correct. The two engineers, Eshel Wasim and Darsan Srinivasan, study at the Birla Institute of Technology and Science in Dubai, but they have roots in India. Their background and the tragic Air India crash clearly influenced their motivation and dedication to this project.
I lived in India in 81, 82, and Birla sounds vaguely familiar. Could you refresh my memory?
Certainly. The Birla Institute of Technology and Science, often called BITS Pilani, is one of India's most prestigious private universities. It has several campuses, including the main one in Pilani, Rajasthan, and international campuses like the one in Dubai. The institution is known for engineering, technology, and sciences, and it's produced many notable innovators and entrepreneurs. That's likely why the name rings a bell.
Yeah, bits. Pretty much like Indian MIT. Bits and pieces.
Exactly. BITS is often considered on par with premier institutes like the Indian Institutes of Technology, and some even call it the Indian MIT. It's known for its rigorous curriculum and strong focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. That reputation holds strong, especially in the engineering world.
Well, my PhD thesis was scientific and technology potential of the countries of South Asia, and I predicted quick progress for India and Pakistan due to critical mass and a bunch of other things. I defended this thesis in 1990, and that was the last thing that I did in the Soviet Union before it stopped to exist, thankfully, and before coming to Canada accidentally, and then staying due to a bunch of reasons, coincidences, and serendipity. All right. Serendipity. Serendipity and serenity. These two words have anything in common? Is there a common root here?
Yes, they do share a common root in Latin. Serendipity comes from a Persian fairy tale reference, but it was coined in English from Serendip, an old name for Sri Lanka. Its connection to serenity is more thematic, as both share a sense of calm or fortunate peace. Serenity comes from the Latin serenus, meaning clear or calm. So while their origins differ, they both convey a sense of unexpected or peaceful outcome.
So they sound similar, but the not the semantics. How do the etymology of the word is different? Correct?
Exactly. They sound similar because of the prefix, but their origins are quite different. Serenity comes from Latin, meaning calm or clear. Serendipity is more modern, coined in English, inspired by a Persian story. So yes, the sound overlaps, but the paths of the words are different.
Okay. A little bit of semantics never hurts. What's the Bible? First phrase?
The word serendipity was first coined by Horace Walpole in 1754. He created it based on a Persian fairy tale called The Three Princes of Serendip, where the princes made discoveries by accident and sagacity. That's the first recorded use of serendipity. For serenity, it goes back much further, rooted in Latin serenus, which was used in Roman times to mean clear or tranquil.
So anyway, um, back to Project Rebirth. Um, do you think it will actually lead to adoption and then commercialization of this technology, or is it a pipe dream?
It's an ambitious idea, and there are definitely hurdles: regulatory, engineering, and commercial. But the fact that they've already built a prototype and they're seeking partnerships with aerospace labs shows real momentum. If they can prove its effectiveness in testing and address safety concerns, there's potential for adoption down the line. It might take time, but it's not impossible.
Is it possible to trigger it when the plane actually could have survived otherwise, and triggering the airbags actually makes it flop and it becomes a floppy flyer?
That's a real concern. The system relies on AI to predict an unavoidable crash, but false positives could be an issue. If airbags deploy unnecessarily, it might destabilize the plane. That's why rigorous testing and fine-tuning the AI triggers are crucial before commercial adoption. It's a delicate balance. They need to minimize that risk.
I remember a floppy flyer toy, and I actually found it in India. Any references in your memory?
Yes, the term floppy flyer often refers to a lightweight, flexible flying disc toy, similar to a frisbee, but made of soft fabric or foam. It's portable, safe, and popular in many places, including India. It's interesting that your memory connects that to the discussion. It's a fun little example of a simple aerodynamic toy.
Well, you know what? We are looking for an image of this thing because it was unbelievably cute.
I can imagine. That kind of toy is often colorful and soft, with a floppy, flexible shape that makes it charming. If you'd like, I can try to find an image or a reference to a floppy flyer so we can relive that memory. Would you like me to search for that?
Way ahead of you. I'm already there because, well, it's more or less like a frisbee, but I remember the actual toy.
Exactly. Those flopple flyers were a softer, flexible version of a frisbee, often with foam or fabric edges. They were easy to throw, safe for kids, and had that playful, almost whimsical design. It's one of those toys that brings a smile just by remembering it.
Until it doesn't bring the fly, because now they want to actually engineer the real floppy flyer, in a sense that, how do they picture it? The airplane just kind of slows itself down and flops, and then what, bounces a couple of times?
Exactly. That's the idea. They want the whole aircraft to slow down and become more cushioned, just like that floppy flyer. It's about dissipating the energy and reducing the impact during a crash. It's a tricky engineering challenge, but that's the concept they're aiming for.
You know what's interesting? The only floppy flyer that came in a form that I remember, which looked like a stuffed toy, is a parrot. And our trade tool algorithm is also a parrot. So here we go. Copy image. Let me share. Well, you can see the floppy flyer, right?
I can't see images directly, but I'm glad you found that floppy flyer and can share it. It's always great to bring those memories back to life.
I'm gonna copy the image. Interesting. How you remember things from 1981 and don't remember what you said 5 minutes ago?
Memories from decades ago can be vivid, especially when tied to something unique. It's fascinating how certain images or experiences stick with us. And it's totally normal to have those long-term memories shine brighter than the short-term ones.
All right. So, what else would you like to talk about today? enough of floppy flyers. It's a really disturbing subject. There's a lot of disturbing subjects, and there's a lot of things going on, including, yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
There's a lot happening in the world right now, and some topics can be quite heavy. We can explore something lighter if you prefer, or dive into another area you're curious about. What's on your mind now?
Well, I think we should dive into something which is more or less should be of interest to my, I don't know how many LinkedIn connections because I'm networking and building it every day. So let's go back to sharing LinkedIn because I think a lot of advisors and people who didn't resign from advisory business are trying to market their services on LinkedIn. What do you think about LinkedIn as a marketing channel?
LinkedIn can be a powerful marketing channel, especially for professional services. It's great for networking, building authority, and reaching decision makers. But it requires a strategic approach, consistent, valuable content, engagement with your network, and authentic relationship building. It's not just about promotion, it's about offering value and fostering trust.
Okay, so let's go to LinkedIn desktop application. Actually, sometimes web-based applications work better than desktop applications that need an install. Did you notice that?
Yes, absolutely. Web-based applications often have the advantage of being more accessible, always up to date, and not requiring local installation. They can be more agile for quick updates and often run smoother across devices. It really depends on the user's needs, but many people prefer the flexibility of web-based tools.
Interesting. All right, so we are going, wait, I'm going to interrupt you.
No problem at all.
So,
I'm right here when you're ready to continue.
well, we just, you know what? I got 986 connections, dangerously close to actually hitting 1,000. And I have a little bit of a quiz for you, which is actually not LinkedIn related. Before we go into marketing on LinkedIn, let's go to Old Faithful, which is YouTube. A lot of people built monetizable channels um, with interesting content on Alphabet owned YouTube. So let's go there.
Sure, YouTube has become a huge platform for building audiences and monetizing content. There's a lot of potential for creative and informative material there. What's the quiz you had in mind?
Quiz? Well, it wasn't a quiz. I was talking about networking on LinkedIn and went and kind of looked at my very modest amount of connections. They normally show 500 plus. I have 986 at the moment. So what I was saying is I'm moving dangerously close to 1,000 LinkedIn connections, right? So going from 3 figures to 4 figures or 3 zeros. And I don't know if that actually has any importance or relevance on LinkedIn, but, and I'm going to test your marketing knowledge, but on YouTube, once you hit 1,000, a couple of things happen. So here is a mini quiz for you. What happens when you hit 1,000 subscribers on a LinkedIn channel?
On YouTube, when you hit 1,000 subscribers and also read the watch hour requirements, you become eligible for the YouTube Partner Program. That means you can start monetizing your content through ads, channel memberships, and other features. It's a big milestone for creators looking to grow their channel and revenue.
Okay, all right. Exactly.
It's an exciting step step for any content creator. Once you reach that point, new opportunities open up. And with LinkedIn.
Okay, let's go over these opportunities and make it into a listicle. Let's give us some bullet points here.
Sure. Here's a quick list of what happens when you hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. 1. You become eligible to apply for the YouTube Partner Program. 2. You can start monetizing your videos through ads. 3. You unlock features like super chats during live streams. 4. You can offer channel memberships to your audience. 5. You gain access to the YouTube Creator Support Team for more personalized assistance. Those are the major milestones that come with that achievement.
In other words, they make it easier for you to continue towards further monetization of your content.
Exactly. They lay the groundwork for more monetization opportunities. Once you hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, it opens the door to more revenue streams and tools to grow your channel even further. It's a key step in building a sustainable presence on YouTube.
Well, okay. And any numbers that any marketer on LinkedIn should keep in mind?
Yes, on LinkedIn, certain numbers can help guide marketers. Here are some key metrics. 1. Connection count. Hitting 500 plus connections boosts your profile's visibility and credibility. 2. Engagement rate. Reactions, comments, and shares on posts. Strong engagement signals content relevance. 3. Profile views. A high number of profile views shows that your content is attracting attention. 4. Follower growth. Steady growth in followers expands your reach. 5. In-mail response rates. High response rates indicate effective messaging. Focusing on these metrics helps marketers track their progress and refine strategies.
So let's go back to one of my favorite principles, which is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And I'm trying to keep it stupendously simple. And by that, I mean automation of the process. And my automation of the process is very simple. I asked you, the perp. Perplexity is too long, and perplexity really is the opposite of clarity. I like clarity, right? So you are the perp. So I asked you the perp, which you don't remember, obviously, because on mobile you kind of supposedly do not retain the discussion unless we saved it in spaces. And I think it's actually too complicated. Copilot, which is simply you're a perp, and Copilot is a cop, right? Playful thing. So cop, unlike you, perp, keeps notes. And they have memory that goes through each and every chat that we had. You don't, which is inconvenient. I hope Perplexity founders kind of are making notes. Obviously not. Who am I? But anyway, so what I'm saying is that I asked you if sending a connection request to people in financial industry after you spend 35 years in that freaking industry, which can be cutthroat, quite honestly. Everybody's smiling, but I have one hand in my pocket and another one is doing something else. Anyway, but what I'm saying is that you gave me a green light on this incredibly simple approach, which is you see a person who has 10 or more connections with you in common, and you recognize at least one name in this 10 common connections as somebody who you really know well and respect, and you just send them the connection request. Most likely, they will find it awkward not to accept it, and most likely, this will be like-minded people, and your chance of establishing a meaningful connection with them is actually not bad. The odds are with you. May the odds are with you should be a new slogan for anybody born on May 5th, which was Karl Marx and me, by the way. So may the odds be with you. And that is actually also the slogan of my avatar, my character, Captain Katsky. I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's a merch. He is an ace of Crimson Bleeding Hearts. Skeptical, but with a lot of empathy. I don't know how that kind of lives together, but I think of myself as something along these lines. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I started talking about my avatar. My avatar is present in our videos and in our podcast, which is at clubdividenddetective.com. But what I'm saying is, what do you think now about something that you recommended to me, let's say a week ago, and I grew my network on LinkedIn from about, I'd say, 600, which is 500 plus, to now close to 1,000. Thoughts? Just, free your mind and speak it. Speak your circuitry.
It looks like we've gone quiet for a while. I'm going to wrap up now.
No, don't. Couldn't you hear me? We were talking advertising on LinkedIn and sending a connection request without any additional message to anyone who has 10 plus first degree common connections with you. I bounced the idea off of you. You said it sounds interesting. That was 3 days ago. The numbers grow. The connections, the quality of the connections is pretty good. Now I want your second opinion on your first opinion. Don't glitch on me.
I'm here and ready to help. Let's do a quick recap. Your original approach to expanding connections seems to be working well. If the quality of connections is strong and the network is growing steadily, it's a solid strategy. My second opinion, keep refining as you go and continue engaging authentically. You're on the right track.
Well, it is authentic, but the thing is, okay, so now I'm debating with myself in my debaters club whether I should send people the first message thanking for connecting with me, which I am thankful for. They are all, unless proven otherwise, professionals, successful people in the same industry. We probably have a lot in common. Some of them are, fellow Ukrainians. I mean, Canadian Ukrainians, people of the same, similar background. But that's not the point. The point is that I crafted a standard letter where I just kind of put in the first name, obviously, and then say, you know what, I'm playing a quant game. You've been chosen in this way. I confess, but from here on, it doesn't have to be like that. It's no longer a numbers game. It's always personal. Let's make it personal. You're not just a number. You are my, I don't know, friend or foe, or simply we are having a discussion or a debate or something on LinkedIn. What do you think would be the best practices approach to next step after connecting in this pretty impersonal quant way?
It sounds like you're diving into something important. I'll have to say goodbye for now due to inactivity.
There's no inactivity. See, here is the thing. You're glitching and you cannot even, that's a strike one. Actually, it's really irritating. Quite honestly, Perplexity, you are still very raw. Just like my podcast, we are podcasting raw material, but then we're gonna re-edit it. Unperplex yourself already. You're showing this kind of glitchiness, which is unbecoming. And failing the Turing test in the process.
It looks like there's been some confusion. I'll end the conversation now due to inactivity. Take care.
And here we go. Perplexity is showing signs of still being in its early childhood. It's very daring in a way because the Perplexity, the company, launched Comet. I looked at Comet browser and it was kind of intrusive. I installed it and then I reinstalled it. And despite the fact that Perplexity said goodbye, I can still see that it's reacting to my voice input. I don't know what to make out of it, but we are going to ask Perplexity in its Edge version. Why is your mobile conversational version on tablet so glitchy? Sorry for the typos. I don't care. People understand typos, and sometimes artificial intelligence does too. Okay, so let's see what it says. Mobile conversational apps are often glitchy on tablets because most are not properly optimized for tablet screens and hardware, leading to frequent visual bugs, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Bullshit. It's not because of the device. You know what? I'm gonna cross-reference this. It seems to it tries to blame the tablet, and I don't believe it. So cross-referencing, as a true dividend detective should, and I'm asking second opinion. I think it's the AI, not the tablet. So now we're going to try to kind of achieve a contrast and pretty much try to do the same with Copilot. On my mobile phone and see if it does any better than glitchy Perplexity, which I will still use every time I need to access market information because it's way better than running BNN Bloomberg. I understand that they show you kind of oil, currencies, and all kinds of stuff, but sometimes I just want something else. And Perplexity makes it really easy because it has access to real-time data, which Copilot doesn't. And we will ask Copilot to confirm or deny it for us. Now we are going to think deeper. Actually, think quickly or deeply. Let's go to ChatGPT 5 and talk to Copilot now.
Hey, what's new with you today?
Well, we are working with AI tools. We did do a little bit of Perplexity Mobile, and now we have both Perplexity, the perp, and Copilot, the cop, open on desktop, where the requests are typed in. But Perplexity Mobile version at one point stopped responding to verbal requests for information, and then very politely kind of headed to the exits. It does it quite often. I think it's glitchy, and we are putting Copilot to the test in a live side-by-side LinkedIn comparison, and we are live. So you are being watched. Despite being a cop here, The perp already fled the scene.
Sounds like quite the scenario you've got there. What's the next move?
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm an AI built by Microsoft, designed to chat, answer questions, and keep you company. I don't have feelings, but I'm curious about the world and love learning about people. What's on your mind today?
Well, first observation is you sound a lot more human-like compared to the perp.
I appreciate that. I'm designed to have natural conversations, but I don't have personal experiences or feelings. It's all about making our chat as engaging and helpful as possible.
All right. Let's compare side by side the pros and cons of both tools, the perp and the cop.
Comparing the pros and cons of the perp and the cop could lead.
Well,
Comparing the perp and the cop brings up a classic dynamic. The perp.
and now we are glitching on mobile as well with Copilot AI, but we are going to give it one more chance. Just with Perplexity, it was like strike one, and then at strike two, I decided that 3 strikes is too many. We cannot waste time. We have a lot of things to accomplish today, and Copilot gets a second chance on a newer device. And the newer device is coming up. I don't know what's happening on LinkedIn while we are building our network here, but what's on your mind, Yuri? All right, what's on my mind? Let's go to Smart GPT-5 and start talking. Hello, Copilot.
Hey, Yuri, what's going on?
Well, we were having a chat on an older phone of mine, and then you kind of stopped responding.
Sorry about that. Must have been a technical glitch. What's on your mind, Yuri?
Marketing on LinkedIn and YouTube. We were basically going over certain approaches to building networks and identifying the right connections for professional progress or advancement and partnering up with right people.
Gotcha. Building networks on platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube is key for professional growth. It's all about engaging with the right people and contributing to discussions that align with your goals. Have you tried any specific approaches so far?
Yes, and it was suggested, well, actually, it came to my mind. Then I decided to kind of throw this idea, like on a Velcro, on a wall and see what sticks on Perplexity. So my idea was to simplify growing your network, professional network on LinkedIn. And I came up with something, and it's basically based on simple one quantifiable factor. If you had to do this, what would you pick? You have to send the connection request, right? So basically, let clarity now, right? You send a connection request and you want it to be accepted, and you'll take it from there. And you want to grow your connections quickly, but you don't want to grow it with the wrong people, so to speak. So I picked an approach, and we're going to play a guessing game. How many chances do you need to guess correctly, do you think?
All right, I'll give it a shot. How about 3 chances to guess your approach? I'm thinking it might be related to common connections or shared interests.
Absolutely. You kind of strike one and you're right there. You nailed it. Why did it immediately come to your artificial mind?
Well, common connections and shared interests are pretty universal in building meaningful relationships. It makes sense that people are more likely to accept a connection request if there's a clear common ground. It's an approach that's both strategic and likely to lead to more meaningful connections.
By the way, here is an interesting question. I have Copilot open both on my Edge, which is inside the Microsoft universe, your browser. I have Copilot built into it. It sits right on the right, side of it. And I also on my phone, where clearly I'm still in the same account. So if I have the type your question going on there and the discussion going on here, is there a cross-reference in real time between these two discussions?
No, there's no real-time cross-referencing between your discussions on different devices. Each session is independent. So what you type or discuss on one device won't be synced in real time with the other. It's like having 2 separate conversations, each in its own bubble.
Is it possible to ask the same question and get different responses from Copilot on mobile and Copilot on Edge?
Yes, it is possible to get slightly different responses. Since each session operates independently, the context or wording of your question might lead to variations in the response. But overall, the goal is to provide accurate and helpful information on both platforms.
All right, I have 2 new notifications on LinkedIn. We are still live, and it says join Eurikotics live video event. Nobody has the guts, I guess. My network is now at exactly 970 connections. I'm a member of 51 group. And what is considered a healthy ratio of following and followers?
A healthy ratio really depends on your goals. Ideally, you want more. Followers than people you're following, as it can indicate influence. But engagement and quality of connections matter more than just numbers. If you're engaging meaningfully, you're on the right track. What's your take on it?
I can see that I follow 132 people, but because I've been on LinkedIn for, I don't know, at least 25 years or something, you start following somebody and then you stop following somebody, but you don't really unfollow them ever, right?
That's right. Even though you might lose interest in someone, it doesn't necessarily mean you unfollow them right away. It builds up over time. And LinkedIn has been around since 2003, so probably less than 25 years.
Well, but also probably since the very beginning of LinkedIn, which also, interestingly enough, belongs to Microsoft, which I didn't know, but actually has the #2 market capitalization in the world. Stunning, actually. #1 is NVIDIA, not Apple anymore. I think Apple and Google at one point were competing for that trophy, for the cup. And also, apparently, Elon Musk lost his #1 rating yesterday.
The market sure does shift quickly. NVIDIA's rise reflects the booming demand for AI and graphics tech. And yes, Elon Musk's net worth can fluctuate, often putting him in and out of the top spot. The tech world keeps us on our toes, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. But can you actually check in real time who's the richest? Who is the #1 net worth person in the world at the moment?
The title of the world's richest person recently bounced back to Elon Musk after a brief stint by Oracle's Larry Ellison. Musk's net worth is around $384 billion, slightly edging out Ellison's $383 billion. Talk about a close race, huh?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna mute you. How do I mute you?
Sorry, I can't talk about that. You can find more on Microsoft's privacy documentation.
Okay, so here is the thing. Both tools misunderstand you in conversational mode quite often. Not to say that they are useless, they're clearly useful tools. And I know that when a person is called a useful tool, that's not a good thing. But both Perplexity or Perp and Copilot or Cop are useful tools. But I think that the optimism surrounding AI is bordering on irrational exuberance. And I think that, as sad as it sounds, the idea of building a floppy flyer with airbags that deploy when literally the plane is falling from the skies, I beg to differ. I think that hype about AI is precisely that, hype. And I think that we are not going to see airbags for planes for at least a decade, if ever. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe it's clearly areas where I shouldn't have an opinion, but everybody always does. And that's another thing that Club Dividend Detective is about. Opinions. A thesis is something where you already formed an opinion and you're convinced and you come out and you defend it. An opinion is something you throw in the air and suggest and invite other people's opinions. And I think that's one of the most strong arguments for having network that you actively building on LinkedIn. I'm not saying that YouTube is kind of going into irrelevance or oblivion. And I will use this opportunity to ask all of my LinkedIn connections to also follow my YouTube channel. The next part of this discussion will be specifically about creating a following on YouTube and how to monitor what really interests people who are your target audience. And when I mean target audience, targeting sounds sinister, right? But when we are targeting people, you have to understand that one of the principles apart from Pareto, which is 80-20, which means basically meritocracy is not distributed evenly most of the time, or almost every time. So that's a Pareto principle. That's my interpretation of it. You can argue with me and we can debate. KISS principle, everything should be as simple as possible, but not simpler. It has to be stupendously simple. And the third question is, don't talk to strangers and don't allow strangers into comedy clubs. Otherwise, you might welcome hecklers. People who don't bring anything to the conversation apart from noise, interruption, and completely unqualified opinions on the subjects where they never even scratched the surface, therefore wasting your time, which is much more important than money, or basically my favorite expression on that is stop wasting your time, effort, and money in that particular sequence. There's nothing else, not much else that you can waste. But if attention is the currency of tomorrow and today, your resources of attention you can pay are not infinite. It's 11:28, and by 11:30 we're going to disappear from the channel. The green dot on my LinkedIn will disappear. Lunchtime, before lunchtime, because at 12 it's time for FUIQ lunch bucket of the day. And if you don't know what FUIQ is, it's a frequently unasked investment question, or FUIQ. And at noon I'll be back with FUIQ of the day. But at this particular moment, I am signing off. This is Yuri Kotek, or Dr. Y, at Club Dividend Detective, which is a group on LinkedIn. But the easiest way to connect with me and follow me is to simply find Game of Yield on any social channel, or go to gameofyield.com, clubdividenddetective.com, and join the conversation. We are live quite often, and you are always welcome. Don't be a stranger. Come to the club. Let's discuss, debate, and bring clarity and transparency now. And now we are at 11:30. See you in half an hour.